Hey y'all, this is Moni.
And this is Kat.
Hey Kat. And this is the Fake Ass Book Club. Wait, can we both say it or no?
Hey guys, welcome back. This is the Fake Ass Book Club. It's your girl Moni.
And this is Kat.
What's up, Kat?
Nothing, just staying uncontroversial.
Of course. As always. You look cute though, I like the pink.
Thank you. You do too. You look very chic.
Thank you. Listen, it's because I was taking my braids down.
Don't tell people that.
I like to be, no, I was taking my braids down. I need y'all to know that's okay. I threw on a hat today to look cute for you guys. Hopefully you're enjoying that because he's got to come down for him. But yeah, welcome back for another fun episode, you guys. We are getting into it today. I'm very, very excited because the book that we picked is We Real Cool by Bell Hooks. I think this is a really great topic because I feel like in pop culture, there's always these conversations about men and women and relationships and blah, blah, blah. You know I fucking hate talking about this shit though. I hate it. But because we have a book, I feel like we can talk about it because it's so divisive and I don't feel like they're real conversations. I hate having fake conversations. I hate having conversations that, my goal is to be right.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to have a conversation. Like, here's the thing.
You want to really learn something.
I want to understand. Like, I truly want to understand.
Yeah.
And I know that
I admire that about you. You're better than me in that aspect.
I want to understand because, and I'm not saying I want to understand because I'm going to feel the same way as you, but help me understand how you got here so I can respect your vantage point a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? So I think this is an important conversation because this gets into Black men and masculinity. And speaking of Black men and masculinity, we do have a guest because we felt like it would be a little tone deaf to have this conversation outside of, you know what I'm saying, just me and you. Yeah. So we wanted to invite somebody on this show. So special guest, do you mind introducing yourself to our guest and letting them know who you are?
What's up, y'all? It's King K.
Here, look
Drunken
at that.
Nights. Wait, what am I looking at?
That's your camera. There and there.
Wait, so this one's just looking directly just
That's
at me?
all of us, and then that one is you, if that's easier.
Okay. What's up, y'all?
Them.
It's the Drunken Nights. I almost started our podcast.
Listen, 8 years will do that.
King K from the Drunken Nights podcast.
How long have you been a black man?
I just started being black last year.
Okay. Damn. That was funny. That was funny. But let's say, you've been black your whole life, right? Yeah.
Yes. Going on 40 years. October will be 40.
So you got experience.
You guys, we did our due diligence. We have a black man in the building. We're going to be exploring the narratives in this particular book. And let me give you guys a little brief synopsis about the book so you know where we're going with this. So, We Real Cool, Black Men and Masculinity by Bell Hooks is a critical examination of the construction of black masculinity in American society. Hooks delves into cultural, social, and historical forces that shape identities of black men, particularly focusing on how media representation, systemic racism, and patriarchal norms influence their experiences. But before we dig into this deep kind of topic, you guys, we like to dedicate our episodes, so hands over your hearts really quickly here. Shout out to all of our patrons. Thank you so much for your continued support. You guys are the best. We appreciate and love you. And also, I want to shout out, I shouted him out last week. I am definitely partial to this person, but my husband, our anniversary is coming up, 18 years. Shout out to him. And honestly, shout out to all the black men out there who aren't afraid to be authentically themselves and lean into, their masculinity outside of the lens of patriarchy, as far as, showing up emotionally, showing up in more than just financially, physically, emotionally, all of the things, the human experience, like honoring that human experience of being involved and being tapped in, because there are men out here doing that. So I definitely want to acknowledge the people out there doing the work. So what about you, friends?
Yes, that's a fantastic dedication. And I'd like to add to it, I went to Art, Music, and Chill this week, put on Proper on Mass, and I got this lovely print from an artist named Jermichael. I actually met him last year at Black Expo. He had a piece there that I really admired, so it was really great. I was like, wow, I really like this piece. You know me, I love a nude. And I like that Exactly. Like, yeah, I think it's very sensual And I like the idea of fighting the patriarchy by recapturing sensuality. So and he's a black man. It is. So yes, if you can, a great way to support black men, buy their art. Yes. So what about you, Kincaid? Did you have a dedication?
I don't know if I have anything specific, but I will say like my kids, man.
Oh, that's a good dedication.
Yeah, man, my daughters, man, they keep me on my toes, keep me aware.
They do.
Keep me.
I had to improve as a person to raise a daughter. They will tell you about yourself.
My middle one, I won't say what the conversation was about, but it was the fact that she felt like I was the only person that she could come to talk to about a specific thing. And generally, this is a conversation not meant for dad. But, yeah, so it made me feel good. It made me feel, it energized me to make sure that I'm staying a positive role model in their lives, even if they are adults.
That's what's up. All right.
Little blurb about bell hooks.
I do. So Gloria Jean Watkins, better known by her pen name Bell Hooks, was an American author, theorist, educator, and social critic who was a distinguished professor in residence at Berea College. She was best known for her writings on race, feminism, and class. And yes, she was black, and she was from Kentucky.
She was black.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it influences your lens if you're an American. You're not having the same experience as a non-black person.
Absolutely. All right, so, I mean, how do we even get into this book? So, like, I feel like...
Oh, wait, I know how we get into it. Kay didn't even read it.
No.
Wow. You want to just call out our guest? I think that's kind of
I was going to say it.
Were you? Okay,
so that way when the listeners...
They knew.
They'll know that, like, however I respond is genuine, authentic responses based off of what's being said to me.
There you go.
That's what we want, though.
Yeah.
Like, here's the thing about a fake ass book club. This is my mantra. This is why this platform was created in this way, was because, you're going to have people who read the book. You're going to have people who don't read the book, but you still want to be able to have conversations about these topics and things. So whether or not you read it, we can still introduce these things. And
at least you're not one of the people who act like they read the book.
That's
true. Part of a fake book club sometimes, too, where you'll have someone who pretend like they read it.
Have, chat. GPT give me a synopsis.
Well, that's
for
due diligence. Yeah. You got a little bit of it.
That's not nothing. You prepare it.
It's definitely.
But that was enough for me
and
to be
you
like,
also
I
have
want to read the book.
You have a lifetime experience of being a black man as well.
Yes.
You do. And so, like, this book does explore themes of black masculinity or masculinity in general. So when we hear that word, like, to you, what does that mean? Like, what is masculinity in your world? From you. And I want to actually, before we even get into this conversation, I do want to make a disclaimer that, when we have conversations like this, it's very important to let people have their own lived experiences. We are not speaking for every black person. I don't want you to feel like you have to speak for every black male. We don't speak for every black woman. We are speaking from our own personal experiences. So this is through our lens, us taking in this information, us talking about these topics from our point of view. So let's just put that out there. So but yeah, in your mind, what is masculinity? How has that been defined for you throughout your life?
The way that it's been defined for me is like there ain't no crying, ain't no emotions. You're the fucking Hulk. All right, you come through, you smash shit, you make shit happen. We need a hole in that wall. You need a hole, bitch. I'm gonna make you 2 holes.
Okay.
But that's how it's defined for me. Like there's no emotion in it.
That came up in the book. You already know. Okay.
But for me, what I found to be admired the most of me being a man is my ability to be able to show up without attitude, right? And show up for you in ways in which I exude confidence in it, right? So, like I said with my daughter, I had this conversation with him. At no point did she know that I was just like, what the fuck? Okay, how the fuck do I do? Like, she did, but I was able to show up for her, you know, in a way for her that made her feel more comfortable. And it wasn't even a long conversation. It was just enough. My lady, I show up for her in ways in which she need me to, not the way that I perceive it needs to be. For me, when you being a masculine man is being able to show up for your people without attitude. If you're gonna have an attitude, you keep that shit to yourself, but you gotta show up. And whether that's in a way that a gentle way, whether it's in a hard way, because there's been times I had to be like, hey, yo, nah, hell nah. Fuck out of here with that. But then there's times that it was needed for that moment. But then there's times where it's just like, I need to take a really soft approach to this. Maybe this approach that I want to take, I'm not skilled in. I need to go learn a couple things before I come to this. So it's the ability to be able to show up without attitude.
Okay, so if I'm hearing you correctly, what you're saying is
that's it.
how
Okay.
is what has been defined to you as masculinity is basically being this emotionalist superhero.
Yes.
And what for you masculinity is showing up without an attitude, like basically adulthood.
Yes.
Being a full adult, showing
Yes.
up and not focusing on your needs primarily in like in any given situation. Like you said with your conversation with your daughter, if you would just concentrate on you, you'd have been like, what the fuck? You know,
Yeah.
as opposed to it's like, wait a
you
minute.
talking to me about this bullshit, man? You need to, man, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's your instead you're
Yeah.
gonna focus on someone else's to take care of your responsibilities in that way. Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds I like that.
I like that too, and you know what? That actually does tap into one of the main kind of points in the book was this cool pose, right? Like, so she talks a lot about like how men are socialized to do exactly what you're saying, be emotionless, like robots, and you know, there's no real space to explore any sort of
Whimsy or
joy. Nothing. Like
Nothing.
it's like
everything other than just being like super strong and dominating.
Yes. Yeah. There's this domination force, and there's this sort of feeling like in a masculine space, if you're not performing from that particular lens, then you're not. It feels, the thing that makes me sad when I hear about these kind of like definitions of masculinity is like, yo, it's like a tightrope in this bitch. You know, like I think as women, we have a lot more leeway to express ourselves, whether it's sexuality, whether it's emotionally, like we have a little bit more diversity in the way that we can express our selfhood, whereas like men, it feels like if you're not working in this very small space, then it's like, oh, you all the way fucked up. Like you know, it's like that seems sad to me, like that you don't have space to do these things. So I'm curious to know, like, do you feel like personally you experienced growing up, or like whatever your, I don't know what your examples were when it comes to masculinity, or you know what was modeled back to you, but do you feel like you had space to be yourself, your true self, or do you feel like you had to put on that kind of cool pose, you know what I'm saying, or is that just natural? Because maybe it's natural for some guys, I don't know.
For me growing up, I had a traumatic upbringing, and so a lot of things about manhood is I learned the hard way, you know, and I learned on my own statistically I shouldn't be who I am, you know, given my background and all of that. So the examples of manhood, I will say there are certain areas in my life and certain eras of my life in which the things that I've learned helped me. As I grew older, matured more, those same things just, they don't serve me, you know. And so there was a point in time where, like, my uncle was like my father, rest in peace, J-Dog, but he was like my father. And so I learned a lot of street shit from him. I learned a lot of game from him, shit like that. And at that time, I needed that. But as I grew older, I started to realize, like, damn, all of the people that I would go to try to figure life out, like, bro, like that was when I was like young. Like I'm full grown now. Give me some different tips. Yeah, like bro, you've been telling me that since I was a kid. Like, and so I kind of figured out that I felt like I didn't have many people to call on. And so I had to figure it out the hard way. And I had my partners, but we all going through the same shit. And we all trying to figure it out. And you did something stupid, like that was stupid. But I probably would have did the same thing if you didn't do it first. Yeah, like you did it first, so I'm like, that was stupid. But I probably would have did the same thing. So as far as examples, I can't say that I had many positive examples growing up.
So how did you end up like this? Because most like
yeah.
Sorry.
So explain yourself.
I used to say, tell it to my people. I'm just like, man, I can't talk to them about this because I asked them about how do I handle this shit with my wife. The first thing they gonna say is like, she still got 2 good eyes? Is she still ain't listening? Oh, well, I'm like, I can't talk to that nigga.
No, that's bad advice. That's how you get caught up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, both eyes ain't black yet before you said that? Oh, man, you need to get a new one then. Because if she ain't listening after the first one.
Well, because I'm just,
How did I get like this? My daughters.
Your daughters. Okay.
A part of my daughters, and I will say myself, but my daughters accelerated the process.
Right. Because our children very much develop us in different ways. Like I'm very much a very different person. Even have had a son. After having a daughter, I feel like I've gone through quite the transformation and still going through it.
Yeah, I agree. No, that's dope though. I think that like our propensity. So like if you don't have kids though, I wonder how. You know what I'm saying? So for men who don't have kids, but specifically not daughters, how do you think a man can get to those? How can you evolve to that space, especially like if you're calling on other men who may not have that experience?
What I'm specifically talking about is not being misogynistic. Like when I'm saying like how'd you get like this? Because one of the reasons why
I was like, how do you not hate women?
What? Yeah, because that seems to me to be a lot of what I come up against when I'm trying to deal with men, specifically black men. I'm dealing with a lot of misogyny, internalized, and then what we also just accept as regular. So, yeah, that to me was always what stood out about the Drunken Nights. I was like, wow, there's like 3 non-misogynistic black men talking to each other. This is a miracle.
Even though we start the show off with bitch and all of that, he's still yes,
exactly.
Bitch is non-gender. Yes. Yes.
I use that term quite a bit, and it is non-gendered in my mind.
I mean, for me personally, it was growing up with, I guess I could say a single mom, but she had a dude, but just the trauma that we went through and seeing and feeling so helpless as a kid going through those things, and then watching her go through it. Once I got older, I ended up developing this thing where like I hated to see women cry, especially over something.
A lot of men like it.
Well, they like to cause women to cry.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But it was especially over something that I won't say that you can't help, but it was just like something that happened to you or something like that, and you crying over it and shit like that, because it takes me all the way back to the moment of watching my mom in distress and feeling helpless. But now I'm a whole grown ass man. Hey back, what's wrong with you? What's going on? You know what I mean? Like, what's going on, man? And sometimes you find out like, bitch, just get a job. Like, you sitting over here fucking, like, but, like, man, get the fuck out of here. But other times, it's just like, she's never had anybody in her life listen to her. And she's feeling helpless. And all she needed just somebody to see her. You know what I mean? And so, I understand the one, as people, we're just multifaceted. You know what I mean? And so you're a woman. I do understand that you have your own universe of shit that goes on over there. And as a man, I have my own universe of shit that goes on amongst us. And if I can help you some way in your universe of shit, I'm willing to do that. Especially, and you're a woman, man. Like you're supposed to be cherished, you treated fragile. You know what I mean? Like, even though a lot of women don't, I won't say a lot of women don't need that. I'll say this, as a man, and I see you as a woman, it is my job to do whatever I can to just make things a little bit easier for you as a man on this earth. And I don't give a damn. Yes, I'm at my female cousin's house. The trash is getting full. Man, I'm finna take this out.
But I'm just saying, what makes you feel that way, and what makes most men just walk past it? Because I feel like, seriously, like in real life, that's. No. But in real life, honestly, most men will take it out if you ask them. That's been my experience.
They would take it out if you ask them?
Yes, yeah. But there are very few men who see it, acknowledge it, and are just like, oh, let me just do this. You know what I mean? So I guess that's what I'm asking. And then, of course,
I think a part of it is the fact that.
Why are you better? And how do we spread it abroad?
A lot of it came from the fact that, you know, I was married for a very long time and I had 3 daughters, so I was surrounded by women. I was put into a position in which I had to take care of women.
A lot of men still hate women. That'll make them hate them more.
Some, yes, and I can understand why. But I was put into a position.
To put your DNA under a microscope. I don't know if this is.
Oh man, you're gonna find a lot of nigga shit.
Well, I guess that's why. Why don't you feel the need to dominate the women in your life?
Because I've learned that women who really love you definitely have your best interest at heart.
Maybe that. Oh, wait, say that over again. Really slow into the camera. Go, King K. That was Jim. Go.
Yeah, women who really love you have your best interest at heart. A lot of times though, with that, they don't know how to say that to you. They just know how to react to that feeling. So you finna get ready to go out with your partners, right? And you got a woman who really love you, and she's saying to you like, you going out with them? Like, then you just go out with them saying, oh man, I don't like him. And really what she is trying to convey to you is like, I don't feel like
bailing you out.
I don't feel like you're safe when you're with this particular person. I've seen patterns of things with this person but she don't know how to convey that. So she reacts to how she feels instead of expressing how she feels. And then that drives the man away even more. Like, bitch, shut up. You trying to tell me what?
Give a woman an example of how she should, if she's concerned with and influencing your life, like what is the right way? Because I agree with you. Like I think that in general, like if you really have a woman who cares about you in your life, they are gonna. I feel that way about the women.
I say the same thing with my daughters too. My daughters are the same way, and so I don't want to leave that just to romantic relationships. Sure. My daughters love me, so they have my best interest at heart. Yeah, they can be very selfish, but deep down I understand. Yeah, I understand that they want daddy around, they want daddy safe, they want daddy happy. Yeah. So, well, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. I was just saying, because I want to be I work on being an effective communicator, doing the active listening, doing all that stuff, right? Because it's like, as time goes on, it's like, I would like for my male relationships to stop being catastrophic disasters. Like, it would be nice for them to go well. So, and my whole thing is I've never been a domineering person. I'm never really trying to tell them what to do because I honestly feel like people are going to do what they're going to do. But let's just say, for instance, if there was an instance where a woman would need to tell a man in their life, like, ooh, you're moving in a way that I think is dangerous. Like, what is the best way to be persuasive without putting him off?
Questions.
Just ask questions.
Yeah, I say that period about most conversations, right? Like,
that's the Socratic method.
Yeah, the questions is just like, if you want to get somebody to understand something, you don't just tell it to them. you ask them questions to where they get there themselves.
Okay, so that's
You
what
know-
Socrates thought. He
Yeah.
thought with questions. Like, he felt like everybody already knew, and if I just ask you enough questions, you'll figure it out.
And that's pretty much what it boils down to, because you try to get people to understand by just saying it to them.
Yeah, I'm a very blunt, direct person, and people don't like it.
I mean, you could probably come off like an asshole. Or
I
something.
do,
Yeah.
and that's why I try to learn persuasion techniques and active listening and stuff like that. Like, I because it doesn't work. Like, I learned very on. Like, I feel like maybe 6 years old. Like, people don't want to hear the truth from me. Like, because let's say from anybody, but especially me, because I'm going to an all-white school.
But it's only your truth.
But let's say, for instance, like, because the example I'm using, I'm 6 years old. I figure out there's no Santa Claus. And so I go to school with that information. No one wanted to hear that shit.
Yes.
Very, very. I feel like that kept me kind of out until like maybe 4th or 5th grade.
I mean, context plays. I mean, you're 6.
But I'm also excited that I figured it out. I was like, y'all, did you know that they're just running game on us? Like, I found the presents. They're in the closet. It's our parents.
Yeah.
Like, it's...
And you thought other people would be just as excited as you were.
Projecting how you
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And everyone else is instead like, you bitch. You know what I mean?
You know what that plays a part in?
What?
When people be like, girl, I saw your man.
Right. Right. When
At
I
the
learned a
mall
long time ago.
with that bitch over there, and she is not as excited to find this information out as you
I
thought
learned.
that she should be.
I've been on that.
Yeah. I'll say this. What evidence do you
but-
have of the man's movements being a danger to him? What evidence shows that it's dangerous?
Oh, wait, what?
You ask the question, or how do you approach the way that he's moving
Yes.
can be dangerous for him? What evidence do you have that the way he's moving is dangerous to him?
Well, I was going to use your example where she's concerned. This hypothetical woman we're talking about is concerned with the company you're keeping. Like, you're going out again with these. Because I've had that feeling before where I'm like, I'm scared you're going to get locked up.
Yeah.
Messing with them. So, and of course, I've tried in my life mostly just to have relationships with men that I can just be completely honest with. That's my dream. Hasn't happened yet. But, like, keep dreaming. But, like, I would like to be able to talk just straightforward and been like, this dude, like, he's got some weird cases. Why is he around?
Your end goal, though, is to get your man to listen to you, right?
Right.
So you got to start from your end goal and work backwards.
Okay.
Right? Your end goal is to get him to listen to you. So,
Or to see the truth. Like I said,
it's still your truth.
But once again, it's not my truth. Santa Claus isn't real. That's
We're
not my
talking-
truth.
we're
That's
not talking-
objectively true.
We're not talking about, the perceptions of it is, this is your truth. I got homies that
Aren't shit.
I won't even say they ain't
Okay.
shit, but from depending on who you talking to, they may say he ain't shit.
Right.
You dig what I'm saying? But that ain't the truth.
Right.
That's just the way you perceive him to be. And so you got to think about those things. That's why I asked you, what is the evidence that this is...
So,
this
okay,
is
I'm going to give you an example of
dangerous?
a friend that I have right now that he has a friend that I think he should just not be friends with anymore.
Tequila,
I think...
please? Oh, really?
Yeah, actually, I would like some too, if you don't mind, while you're pouring. Just very little, though, so Moni doesn't yell at me.
Are we done with that? That can's
So she
done?
won't lightly scold me.
Tell me when. All right.
That's good. That's enough. That's enough.
Oh, that whole too much.
Yeah, that's what he said.
I know.
But
I was trying not to be that guy on this podcast, man.
but I do have a friend, and he has a friend that seriously, he's caught like sexual assault charges. He's openly misogynist, but you're someone, you've been friends for so long that you kind of overlook this stuff. But I do sometimes worry, like, if he does something messed up while you're around, you can just catch a case. You know what I mean? You don't have to necessarily, especially as a black man, you don't have to necessarily be doing anything wrong. I try to hammer this home with my son a lot. The stuff we're talking about on Patreon, a lot of times it's really just about situationally. Yes, like who are you letting in? Because it can be, I think that was part of the book. Like, life is very dangerous for black men because you aren't loved in our society. So, like, internalizing that truth, realizing that, like, make room in your life for black men who are safer to be around and who are going to uplift you and not like keep you where you were and actually get you to where you want to be, because your goals, you're not going to be able to have someone, because if you bring him into this space and he's sexually harassing someone, you could get fired. You know what I mean? Like off of just the weight of you bringing him in here. So in a situation like that, what are the questions to make them as concerned as I am?
When I was saying like, what evidence do you have? It would
be the cases, the weird cases. He's got some weird cases.
Yeah, so that way
why are you around?
When you're asking your questions, it's important to have those moments, because granted, he's going to perceive these situations and this evidence a certain way because of their 10, 20-year relationship with each other. So he's going to perceive it a certain way. So before you start even asking questions, at least have some evidence first and not just feelings. I just feel like he a bad.
Like I said,
nobody's gonna listen to that shit.
I've only met that dude once. I don't even really know him. Like, it's really off the stuff he's telling me about him.
Yeah, okay, and that's that's the evidence.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So before you even start trying to come to your man about some shit, at least have some evidence to try to back up your feelings. Granted, there are certain things like women's intuition is fucking. Sometimes it's really top tier. Sometimes intuition, they call it intuition, but it's really insecurity. You dig what I'm saying? So sometimes you have those moments where you don't have no evidence, but you right in the motherfucker. You know.
Well, there is.
But if you go, yeah, yeah. So when you come to him, you're like, man, these are some things. But you want to always approach it with the love and care for that man, right? So I love you. And I care for you, and I want the best for you. I see this going on. If this happened, if this thing, like, are you prepared for what may happen afterwards? Or you can ask him, how do you feel about when he does this? Okay. Why doesn't that cause concern for you? Why doesn't, like, you just ask questions?
I learned that over the course of being married for 18 years. That, you know, there's a certain way you have to.
That's a great idea, babe.
No, because and that's the thing. And I think that, like, if you're the kind of person who is, you know, you're like you said, you're very direct and you're just like boom, boom, boom. But it's like there's angles.
It's a finesse, man.
It is. It's the pimping
you
part.
You got a finesse,
man. Like when we talk about the silkiness of it. And I'm not suggesting that we should be pimping our partners. I'm just saying, like, there is a certain way that we need to address certain things.
Well, I think there's a reason why Kat's single.
Well, make sure. I'll say this: when you ask your questions, check your attitude too. You can't.
I don't really get an attitude.
I'm not saying you.
Okay, tell them that. You were looking at me when you said it.
Yeah, but I'm having a conversation.
I didn't. I said it nice.
I'm having a conversation with y'all, so I'm gonna keep. Yeah, I'm probably not gonna look at that camera.
I would defend myself all the time, but I don't get an attitude because I don't like when people do that with me. I don't like aggression.
No,
but I think
I'm saying to the audience, like when you're asking questions, if you're a woman talking to your man wants to feel like you authentically give a fuck about him.
Oh, yeah.
So when you ask your questions, if you come to him and you say to him, like, there's two different ways to ask, like, what do you think about what he's doing? Like, what your friends do. Like, well, how do you feel when he does these things? There's two ways to ask that question. You could come to him and be like, babe, you know, first I told you start off with look, I love you, I care for you, and I always want you to come back home to me. I see your partner doing some, you know, I just want to know, how do you feel about it? Or you could come straight in like, so you don't give a fuck about what he's doing? Like, it sounds like a question, but it's so you don't give a fuck about what he's doing, huh? Like, it sounds like a question, but that's really like, hey, yeah.
Okay, but what was you saying?
No, but I was curious to know. So, like, I don't know if you've seen the viral sort of interview with, it was Cam Newton, it was Nick Cannon, Dr. Bryant, and I think this kind of taps into some of the subjects that we're talking about in this book. So this book does kind of like tap into, you know, men feeling like, you know, what masculinity in terms of how we view it is like a lot of times like nation building, right? Like spreading your seed and, you know, fucking a lot of women and having kids, not necessarily the focal point on being on like building families and stuff like that. And so there was this clip where Cam Newton and this doctor were talking. It was talking about broken homes, really, is what it was saying. And she was kind of like asking, I want to pull up the clip because I'm going to play it so that we can comment
But yeah,
on it
that
really,
this
really quick.
idea of like you don't necessarily make the like being a man isn't being prolific necessarily. It's more about what you invest in people.
Sure. Yes. I
To
think
me.
that's a good way to put it. I don't know. Did you see, let me start with, have you seen that? Did you watch that? Have you consumed
Are you familiar?
Yeah, I'm familiar.
Okay.
But you couldn't sit and watch the whole thing?
I didn't watch the whole
I didn't either.
Okay. Well, do you mind if I play
No,
part
go
of
ahead,
it?
go
Okay.
And I'm not high functioning.
What situation?
See, my situation, that's a very vague question, and this for you
What
to
situation are you referring to that they're looking at and thinking is not high function?
Just my life.
Your life entirely, or your life in relationships?
My life.
See, don't deflect. Let's stay here. Your life entirely, or your life in relationships?
Both, really.
And they think that you're low functioning.
No, I don't.
You just said people see your life and think you're not high functioning. The opposite of that would be low functioning.
No. Okay, so here you go. You're trying to take my intentions away from. This is. Can I correct it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Or can I give you more?
Yeah, some more information. Heck yeah.
So, I'm not married, right? I have beautiful children.
How many?
8.
I didn't do my research. I thought it was 4, but 8. Okay.
No, baby.
Cool.
It's
By how
8.
many women?
3. And this is the kicker. I want more. Now,
By multiple women? What's the intent?
I
You're
just
saying
want God
about
to
your
bring
wife.
it. I just want God to bring it.
Oh, okay. And you have, so you just.
Because my point is this. My desire to get married is lower than my fear of divorce. So, as you would say it, Dr. Brian, you said it, I didn't say it, I will agree. I'm just taking my time. Drinking and driving is a decision.
Oh, man. Here goes his.
Damn, that's a hell of a commercial to go into.
Right.
Well, I don't know. One bad decision after another.
Yeah. Okay, let's get him out of here.
Okay.
So what emotions did that bring up in you?
Oh man.
Maybe listen, a lot of these
Bro, okay. Well, shit. Okay, so oh man, I got
Yeah, he
3
set
kids.
you up.
and that's a
All by the
lot.
same woman to have 8 by 3 different,
So 3 households.
And then
Well, 4
saying-
including his.
saying I want more, but not having a plan on how this should look, or having and maybe it could have just been him being defensive towards her and not wanting to let her fully
There's
in.
more. We
So
can hear
to
more
say
if you want to hear
to,
more.
But to say, God's gonna bring them. Like, bro, you smarter than that. You know
Come on.
you're having
Is
a conversation.
God?
No, you know
You
you're
gonna
having
bring
a
'em.
conversation with an intelligent woman right now. So to sit there and just be like, God's gonna bring them, nigga, you're not that stupid. What the fuck is you talking about, bro?
No,
Like,
PK, can
Thank
I tell
you.
you? No, most. That's
Thank
why
you
I
for
keep
saying
asking
that.
you.
Thank you for saying that.
Why,
You
when I
have-
ask you why are you like this, most dudes are like this. Like who can have these resources and stuff like that. Like most men are thinking like
I wouldn't say most men. Maybe
a
the ones
lot.
you're interfacing. Yes. Yes.
Quite a few. So this isn't super uncommon. So that's why I was kind of holding you. It's like, okay, so why are you like this and these men are like
Hold
this?
up. Let's hear a little bit more, though,
Oh,
you guys. Let's
oh.
hear just a tiny bit more.
Let me
Hold
drink
up.
some more, please,
Yeah, let's just hear. You're with it.
so I can dull my senses.
You have 8 kids with 3 different women.
Yes.
You are creating, procreating, and multiplying. That is not taking your time. You're being very selectively active. Okay? So you're creating, in disclaimer, the kids are innocent, they are beautiful and amazing. Anything I say has nothing to do with them babies, because I can't wait to be a mom, and I love the kids, period. But you are proactively choosing where you want to be active at and where you want to take your time. You want to take your time in having a wife because of your own fears. But you will, and I say this with all respect and love, what I'm about to say next, okay, Cam? But you will selfishly create broken families, even if you're in their life and you're a proactive father, and I believe you're an amazing daddy. I can only imagine with just your presence and knowing you thus far. But these families are still broken. every child cannot have Papa in the house with them. So some child, if not all will end up with some kind of deficit without Daddy being there. Now, you chose to do that. I'm not saying you sat there and woke up one morning and said, I want to be selfish today, so I'm going to go make a baby. Not saying that at all. But those are selfish acts at the expense of your fear. So at what point do you feel the fear, do it anyways? And yeah, that is a low functioning behavior. To say that I am going to create these homes. Let me go better. I'm going to build these houses and put kids and these beautiful women and kids in them, but I ain't going to create a home in them. I'm going to wait till I dissipate my fear to find a wife where I'm still going to be fearful with, because there's no such thing as not having some type of nerve or some type of feeling behind marrying somebody.
Okay, you in case struggling. Let him talk. Let's hear it. Let it rip.
Both sides, right? So I think there is a thing of, because there's some I know women who've gotten pregnant that they wasn't looking to, but they gotten pregnant, and the man did want to be with them, wanted to build the family with them, and she chose
it's not necessarily his fault.
That
assumption.
Okay.
And I also feel like it's not necessarily like a deficit if your father doesn't live with you. Like, my parents broke up when I was in high school. My dad, the funny thing is, when you're divorced, men end up parenting more when you're divorced a lot of times, because you have to set up parenting time. And so I felt like when I got divorced, my ex had to do a lot more parenting wise, because we weren't living together and the work wasn't assumed to be on me as far as taking care of the kids. So I don't necessarily believe that you can't be an active and participant parent because you don't live with the child's mother.
I agree. I think that's a really important point to make, actually, because there's a lot of diversity that exists in the way that families happen.
Yeah.
And so, like, to assume that, because it's not happening in a specific way.
Like, your dad could be deployed, your dad could be dead. You could have, like I said, IVF. There's so many ways to create families now that it is sort of the old patriarchal model that it has to be one woman, one man, and that's the only way to have healthy children. Where in the book they were talking about, like, the more important thing is making sure there's not a ton of abuse. Seems to be way more important to raising healthy, productive people. At the same time, like, what he's talking about, because I agree with you. I think that because he's someone who's had an extreme amount of privilege in his life, I think a lot of times men think, well, if I can pay for these kids, I can have as many kids as I want, without thinking about the
emotional and mental ramifications.
Of creating a human being who's going to need a lot from you.
Yeah, because he just wants more kids. He just wants God to bring them. That's what
and
he
you
said.
probably been fucking on a woman that's crazy in real life, but she been on her medication, and that motherfucking psychosis is gonna be passed down to
and like
your
I
kid.
said, exactly. Like,
so you didn't even know that this bitch was crazy.
And you should.
She been on medication the whole time.
Condoms aren't that bad.
They're just really not.
They're not that bad. I said they're bad. They're bad, obviously.
But
they're not that bad.
Morally and ethically, yes, we should wear them because they're not that bad, so we should protect ourselves.
And they've gotten better.
In real life,
they've gotten
they're
better.
Trash.
They've gotten way better since the 90s.
I don't know.
I can't speak on it. It's been on.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, too.
Technology. Think about cell phones in the 90s and cell phones now. That's condoms.
Well, here's the thing. If you don't want to get pregnant, if you're not trying to reproduce, definitely protect yourself. Like, that's on period. And so maybe that takes away from this moment, but it's still worth it, right?
There's still ways to be, like, fun and sexy with condoms.
I'm not saying there's not.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yes. All of that, of course. Yeah.
Should you just stop in the middle, though?
No.
Like, if I don't feel nothing, and this isn't enjoyable because I'm wearing this glad bag.
They have Magnum Raw now.
Would it be fucked up for a man to just stop and be like, in real life, shawty, I'm not feeling nothing, and I'm not having a good time.
Nothing.
Like, I'm not feeling nothing. Like,
not even like
it's wet. It's grip. I can feel that, but like, y'all don't understand what it's like for a man to wear a condom. I'm telling you. It's oh my God.
It's not the same, huh?
We would if we had the choice, we would just let's just stop. Because I could feel more if I just jack off.
Damn.
Like,
Okay.
Like, would that be rude to y'all though, as
Yes.
a woman? Like, you would feel rude by that
No.
being like, I know we wearing this condom for safety, and I
No,
get
go
that
ahead,
this is
babe.
responsible.
I'm about to take a nap.
But
It's fun enough.
okay, I'm sorry.
It's
I got
fun
it.
enough.
No.
But no, like, and let's just say, even without the condoms, there's still other ways to do birth control, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
You
for
know,
sure.
like we can all agree on that.
But we need to stop STDs as well. So
Yes.
you have to wear
I think
condoms.
if it
I mean, it's-
becomes a part of your sexual habit, you just get used to it. And then
That is
if you
true.
find someone you feel safe with, because quite honestly, what I am irritated with is that when I'm out here dating and stuff like that, men don't want to wear condoms. And I'm thinking to myself, we're not together.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, we're dating, but we're not together.
Bitch,
so
I'm gonna be the one pregnant.
and this
The
this is the
fuck?
thing too. Like, I'm thinking to myself, and this is just how it was like sometimes it's just like, God
how many
damn it.
people are you fucking raw?
0.
You thinking that? Oh, no, not
Oh.
you. I'm saying you think.
None.
I'm drunk too. Yeah, you know that was
Nobody.
real.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's what you thinking. The fact that he
But
don't.
yes,
want
that is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Quite honestly, I'm like, so I'm thinking like, bitches just letting you hit raw off of dinner, like,
Right, that's what it is out here, dear.
because pretty much
Yes,
that was
that's
all
all it
that
takes.
happened. It's like I'm gonna need real estate.
I mean, we're women of a certain
Sorry, I
age
threw
too.
y'all off with that.
Okay.
I wanted to know how rude would that
Yes,
be.
condoms are the worst.
Oh my gosh. No, so I'm curious though too, though, when we're talking about Black masculinity or just masculinity in general, how do you, so like we talk about the patriarchy, what do you, when you hear women speaking about that, like what's your first thought? Like what is the, you know, when women are like, oh, fuck the patriarchy, or, you know, it's a problem, patriarchy, blah, blah, blah. Like, what's your understanding
What's
of
your
what it is?
perception of patriarchy? Before I answer that.
I mean, I just feel like it's so patriarchy is set up in my mind to be a system where it, you know, it favors men in the way that like, you know, they're supposed to be the leaders. They're supposed to be the ones who, they have access to the most power. So like, if we just think about voting rights in general, or women being able to have like bank accounts, for instance, in history, like you had to have a man, or there's certain cultures where you have to have a man out in public with you, or you can't go nowhere. You have to be covered up, and you have to. So it's like it's very much based on a system where it is if a man's not involved in it, then it doesn't exist, basically. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
male
saying? Like,
domination.
yeah, male domination. Yeah. So when we talk about patriarchy, like, what are your? Do you feel like you interact with that? Is that something separate in your mind to your lived experience as a man, or do you feel like you embody certain parts of it? Or
Man, what's crazy is that I don't know what comes first. Am I black or am I a man, right? So there's certain things that like I have the power to hire people, right? I don't know if I want to hire this person. Well, I want to hire this person because they black first. So when I think about that, I'm like, damn, does that make me black first? Or because I'm not thinking like I want to hire this dude because he's a man, whether he's black or white.
sure.
So it makes me, that was something I asked myself like before, like, damn, am I black first or a man first?
That's a good question. I think as women, we have to think about that a lot too, because patriarchy.
But I feel
I
like
will say-
blackness is a newer concept, whereas masculinity is an older one.
old, yeah. It's
Yeah.
been a
Yeah.
while.
I give you that.
Yeah, like
But
I feel like
I
black
don't
is an
know,
identity
man.
that's been given to us
I
necessarily.
think when I have, I don't know, a male dominance, I personally would not like it for having a business, would not like for it to be only male driven.
Why,
I just
though?
would not.
Why?
I would like to delegate tasks to men because I'm a man. I understand how shit go. We can be very focused on something and get that fucking job done. But I remember when I was an inventory manager and I was hiring people. For the most part, I really preferred women.
Let's go. Why?
Because women have the ability to multitask in a way that men just cannot. And we are dealing with numbers. We are dealing with product. We are dealing with a whole lot. Women can think about a lot of shit at one time. And for them, it seems all organized in their heads.
They say
And
that's
they
why
will
women
jump-
need more sleep.
and
Because
they
we
will-
use our brains more.
Yeah, that's why y'all don't sleep. I already know.
No, why we need more sleep.
Because y'all don't sleep.
I sleep a lot.
No, y'all need. Yeah, you need help to sleep though. I'm
No,
saying
I don't.
for most, do your
was
husband
sick,
just
but-
lay down and go to sleep?
He be snoring.
I promise you,
Instantly.
he just lay down and go to sleep.
But that's how I go to sleep generally when I don't have allergies. Like usually my head hits. It's a joke in my family about
She been
they
sleeping since
name
this
naps
season.
after me.
Yeah.
Like as soon as, but I observed that too when I was growing up. Men would just come home from work and
fall asleep.
immediately
And just go to
to
sleep.
sleep
Yeah.
after me. But also I do a lot of jobs.
Yeah.
Women are able to think a lot about a lot and organize it in their head, and there's sometimes where things can crawl, but they know how to just like
Here's the
they can
thing,
hear 3 conversations at once. They can talk to you, hear what's going on over there, and still like
Still be understanding.
and so when it comes to certain things, man, I'm like, nah, man, we need a woman's attention. So when it comes to like the patriarchy of like, let's just say running a business, I wouldn't want my business just strictly male driven.
So you wouldn't
We
have a problem,
need
let's say,
women.
voting for a woman. Because
No.
a lot of people, like, they're struggling with that because they don't like the idea of women having power over men. Because a lot of times men don't have a problem with women having power over other women. They get uncomfortable when a woman is in a position that they have power over a man, and then they feel like they're being emasculated because this woman, a lot of times maybe because of how they felt about their moms, I don't know. But when I'm listening to what you're saying is that you feel like organizations are stronger when men and women work together.
Yes,
I agree.
because it's needed. I can't say throughout looking at life, I've seen women just be, especially living in a house full of women. I've been able to see emotions just take over the entire situation. So I think that there does need to be a balance of, because what the man is going to see and take care of, the woman may not see it. What that woman is going to see and take care of, that man may not see. Working together, you get to produce a fucking
Collaboration.
a great product.
One of the nice things about when I switched schools and, went over to Catholic school, I was finally able to learn about evolution because the school I went to wouldn't teach it. Men and women have evolved for different tasks. Like there's a reason why women are better at multitasking, listening to multiple conversations, might be more social, overall. Because when I learned that, I immediately was like, oh, that does make so much more sense. Yes, I've observed in my life, like women are more social than men. Like, and it's not a deficit in men that they're not. Like, it serves a purpose. Like, we don't have to, be mad at each other because we're different in these ways, because ultimately it's because we're meant to work together.
Right. I think that's the thing, though. I think that, because of our culture is very, it's very competitive. And I think that that's the problem when we talk about, men and women collaborating to come to some sort of resolution or even just cooperation. It feels like I gotta be right. I gotta be the one. I gotta win. And it's like, why is that I'm confused as to why that's the goal. I think at the end of the day, any partnership, what I've observed over my life, whether we're talking about romantic relationships or even, how we do this podcast, I want to lean into the things that my partner is good at and let them shine in that. I think it would be easy for me if I was an insecure person. Having a podcast with you would be hard because you're so smart. You have all these quippy things to say and all of the, you know what I'm saying? And I could be like, damn, that's not who I am. You know what I'm saying? And I bring what I bring. So I think
We wouldn't have a podcast if it wasn't for you, though.
And but we can say that though.
Because I can't do paperwork. As smart as I am, I'm like, I'll have an email that's 4 weeks old. I'll be like,
but the point in all of that is to say that, I think that when we show up and just be good at what we're good at and allow that person to shine and appreciate that thing, and add value and try to add value to it and not be intimidated by it. Like, I think that's the thing. We have to be able to put our egos up and say, like,
precisely, because I could be very easily intimidated by you too.
Really?
Yes.
Are we being for real?
Because honestly,
Here
like,
we are.
think about our society. Like, if I was an insecure person, I'm like, well, she's got a man in the house. You know what I'm saying? Like, you've got a real job.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
You're a business owner. What are you
That's what I'm
talking
saying,
about?
though. But like, these are things that, like I
Of
said,
course.
like, if you have the wrong perspective,
Of course.
you can be like, well, and you have this, and I have
Yes.
this, instead of thinking about like, oh, I actually do bring a lot to the table.
We all do,
Like,
and that's the
yeah,
thing. Like,
like-
let's focus on what a man brings to your life, like, and when you think about what it is you want to, because I think challenging patriarchy in large is challenging the ideal that, you know, I think what the problem is that men and women sometimes we reduce ourselves down to the common, or not even common denominator, because that would actually maybe be a good thing, but like we commodify each other in a way that I think is dangerous,
Which is part of
because
capitalism.
It's part of capitalism because everything has to be he you know, if he's not you know, whatever the fuck. I hate all the conversations about high value men, all that dumb shit. I
really
fucking
only
hate it.
I was just talking about that.
I
I
hate
only
all
see
of
that
that
shit on the internet.
It's
In
stupid.
real
In real
life,
life, you don't
I don't
see
see none of that shit. I don't see the women
do.
talking about they don't need a man. In real life, I don't see they want
Women
a man.
want men.
Hard.
They want a man.
And
So bad.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, if we could just stay focused
And not
on
just
what's important.
romantically. You know what I
Period.
mean? Like, just
Yes.
purely, I like that energy. Like, one of the things I like that you brought up in the book about how because it's funny, because I was thinking like this, thinking of black men as an, not an extinct species. What is it? Endangered species.
She said that in the
But she
book.
was talking about how that can be problematic because we're kind of making it
Yeah,
animalistic
for
in a way.
sure.
But factually, I feel like men are socially and health-wise in worse conditions that they were 30 years ago. Because I think about me growing up, there were black men everywhere, older black men. Everywhere, in my house, in my grandmother's house, everybody's everywhere I went, there were older black men. It was great energy. You know, I loved my grandfather, my uncles, all that stuff. Now, they're very rare. Like, I don't have there are no older black men at like that my kids get to be around the way I was. And it's like, wow, what changed? Like, why does it seem like it's harder for black men to stay alive now and thrive and all of this stuff? And it bothers me because I actually
love black men.
As bitchy as I might seem, I love black
They're
men.
the best. They're the best.
They're so fantastic. I love that energy. So it's kind of like, what do we got to do to facilitate this so that it's just not so horribly poisonous?
King K, do you have any answers for this? You're a
I
man.
don't know.
I don't know anything.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
You
I don't
know,
know. I like my niece. My niece now, Swoop daughter. She's surrounded by uncles. You know what I mean? To the point where the people that she brings around is just like, I know them unc now. Like, so,
Yeah.
and then, I mean, she's like 20. So, from her perspective, we could be the older black men that is around. But once
is
she
beautiful.
becomes 38, 40, she's probably going to say the same thing. Like, where are the older black men at? But I don't know. We're not around as much. As we get older, I like to go out less.
No, I don't even
I
mean
don't
like
even
that.
like to
I
be
meant
around.
familially, because I feel like I always made this joke that like black men who make it to 35 are superheroes,
Okay.
and if you make it past 50, you're a god. Like in this
Okay.
society, like specifically in America, because everything is so stacked against you. And I feel like it's not just a coincidence. I feel like part of it is intentional, that this isn't really set up. Like, she lays it out. Some bell hooks.
she's amazing.
And
Y'all have to
actually,
read the book.
the book that comes after is actually, we should take a break. And I'm going to tell you the book we should probably read after this that really ties into this.
All right.
All right.
You guys, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. All right, guys, welcome back from the break. Oh my gosh. Okay, so during the break we kind of got into a side conversation, and Kat, kind of get into what the question was you had for King K.
Well, you bring up the fact because we have an ongoing thing where you're on me.
I'm on your.
You're on my
friend.
neck about I should have more male platonic friends, and I always counter with it's very difficult to have male platonic friends.
You can do hard things.
Yeah, but I don't need another one. Like, I'm already doing a lot of hard stuff, and it's very difficult to find men who view you as a person. Because like for someone to want to be friends with you, they have to see you as a human being. And I made the point that I feel like, and feelings aren't facts, but I feel like a lot of men that I encounter view me as a life support system for pussy. And it's not really something they're trying to get to know. It's an inconvenience they have to get through to
get to the thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then King K said,
yeah, what you think? Yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
Men definitely look at, I would say two sides of it, right? Dating scene, which I don't have a lot of experience in. Okay. I was with my ex.
You get wifed up a lot.
Years.
You get wifed up quick.
But as far as dating scene, like, that sex is a level of closeness.
Yeah,
it's important to men.
Yes,
sure.
It's
sure.
very
important to women too. Let's stop.
But I think
like
it's different though.
Women, when they're looking for advice, they're always looking for advice on how to make it work with a man they're not attracted to. Men are never asking that question, like, how do I make it work with this woman I'm not attracted to?
No,
they are already like, eh.
No, I'm just speaking to you saying like. Sex is important. To men.
It's very important.
Too,
but when women give up some pussy, it's one of the most vulnerable you're gonna catch her.
So men giving up dick, it
ain't not.
Nothing.
No, we don't feel that vulnerable.
Nothing. You've never met a man who's discriminate about his dick though. But I'm saying like, do you feel any sort of like she could not get it because she's not worthy? Like, is there never? I mean,
yes, I have.
Standards.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes,
super.
Yes, standards.
Thank you.
I mean, now I have a lady. You know what I mean. Yeah. So, but at the same time, like every woman is not deserving of my experience. I'm not just fucking you. This is an experience, bitch. Every woman is not worthy.
And that's beautiful. You should feel. I think if more men felt like that, it wouldn't be as bad because.
Nah, it'll be a lot of mad bitches out here. It'll be a lot of kids not born out here.
That's okay.
That's probably for the best.
Yeah, I'm about to say it's a lot of. Listen, the population is over right now. We are scrambling for resources.
It's like I don't know, Moni. Are there enough people?
I'm just saying.
If every man felt like that,
I'm not saying every man needs to.
Because there are.
So
fuck it. Okay, there are women out here that men, I've seen them fucking just like do whatever they can to fuck this woman. I turn that bitch down. A lot of men would love to have fucked her.
Like, I put a bad bitch in the friend zone.
Why?
Huh?
Why?
I felt it. Something's off. I'm like, you're not. Physically, she had all of the shit, but once we got to talking, I'm like,
you're thinking past just the physical interaction. You tend to gain things out.
Not even just that. Even if it's just a sexual experience, I want it to be an experience. Like, I'm not finna just fuck somebody just because they want to fuck me. You know what I mean? Just because she want to fuck me.
Yeah.
Don't like this is finna be terrible for me, but it might be great for you. I'm about to give you some amazing fucking dick. It's finna be great for you, but for me,
talk your shit.
This is finna be
change your life, girl.
Well, I ain't gonna say. I'm just saying like this is finna be regular for
about
me.
To get this heavy Gary dick.
But no,
so
I feel what
that's
you're
enough.
saying,
I'm like, I could fit just talking to you and just the energy
that
you're presenting. I'm like, you don't deserve this.
But that's good though. Well, so like I think that does tap into what we're saying though, because I think a lot of men get the message that as long as you're fucking, like it's cool because like
those are niggas who don't get pussy.
But no, let's talk about instances where. What do you think about instances where? So like I know and I hate to bring Boosie into the conversation, but like I know there was a whole, because this is something that's been out there. He brought in a sex worker to perform a sexual act on his minor child, you know what I'm saying, to have this sexual experience. And so like, you know, when we think about how we prepare young men for sexual experiences,
it's often abuse.
Yeah, like
you brought that up in the book. Like that's
in
very
my
common.
mind, that is an abusive situation, and I know that like a lot of men maybe aren't poised to feel like if a woman who's older than you, or even if it's a sex worker or whatever, is propositioning you for sex and entertaining you in a sexual way, that's not abuse. But in my mind, like if I knew that my 12-year-old son, there was some 18, 16, 14, whatever, you're a woman or girl older than him trying to like
I think she said if it's 2 or 3 years older, and like, because she's saying like for young people to sexually experiment, that isn't necessarily abuse.
We all have had
but
moments
if they're
with
3
peers,
or
right?
4 years older, then that gets into the abuse area when we're talking about children.
And I just feel like because you're a male child doesn't mean that like that's okay.
Basically,
like,
turning down sex means you're like they'll
You're
take
gay.
like you're
You gay,
gay
or
because you
you're
don't want to
supposed to
hit
feel-
that. Like it's just a piece of pussy. What's the problem?
And observing as a young person how fucking crazy that is to have adults in your life pushing you toward this, and you're like, yo, I'm not ready for this.
And to understand it, all you have to do
is
is switch the genders. Like this idea that
if it was a girl,
young black boys don't
period.
need to be protected for whatever reason the way girls do, and it's not true. Like they did a Miss Pat about that when Junior was trying to, I don't know if he was getting nudes from some grown ass woman at the mall.
Come on. Like,
that was
come
working
on.
at the
That's
mall,
not okay.
and she sent it, and she's like, "What? You know, like she doesn't see anything wrong with
Bitch,
it." Miss
you-
Pat's like, "I will end you."
Bitch, I will fuck you up. Don't
the
do
same
that.
way that like when I was young and going to the mall and like grown ass men hitting
Hollering
on
at
me,
you,
like
yeah.
for real. It's like this is gross and stupid.
Yeah.
Stop it.
And I feel uncomfortable. So yeah, I'm just saying, like, what are you?
But I think what you're saying, like, sex is important to. Do you think a man would ever be serious about a woman he's not sexually like into?
75%
Could do it.
75% serious.
So no.
Well, no, I wouldn't even
75
say
is
that.
still
No.
good. That's
Okay, I'm
pretty
lying.
good.
I'm
What you
lying.
That's a
I'm
D.
lying. Nah. No.
If we're talking about patriarchal, the way that we score stuff,
I think a man could. I do also think it depends on his age group.
Okay.
And where he is at in his life.
His evolution.
Because this woman could really be everything that he needs to build a life with. Pussy just not hitting like these street bitches. These bitches out here.
So do you think he's gonna be faithful?
Yeah. He will. I think he will be faithful.
Because my whole thing is, I feel like
It
men who are
depends
getting
on
sex that they
how-
like aren't being faithful.
It depends on where he is at his maturity level, because he will understand. Like, I was having this conversation with my brother early last week about like grass being greener, right?
Yep.
And for him, it was just like everybody always think that the grass is greener on the other side, and I was making an argument to him that it is. That is some green ass grass over there, but you on this side, you don't know for one if that is, but you don't even know if that's real grass. You don't even know.
It probably smells like manure.
Yeah, you don't know.
Roses be smelling like doo-doo.
You on this side
Andre
of the
told us
fence
that. He
looking at it. So I'm like, that grass is greener, but I promise you, you will love what you commit to. So
yeah.
it doesn't matter if this is what you've committed to. This is what you are going to love, and there is no value higher than that. So if as a man you with this woman and you could see yourself building your life with this woman sexually, yes, there are women out there that are going to do
backflips.
Man, they are going to do everything, but these bitches will destroy your life.
Yeah.
Trying to build one with them.
Yeah.
It's, bro.
What's important? What
yeah.
you want?
So I believe that man can be faithful, and he will be faithful, but it depends on where his maturity level is at, and how much he's grown.
I don't know. I think what I've taken from this podcast today, with everything we've learned from the book and from listening to your conversation, I am probably going to die single.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why you think that?
I don't.
You don't trust
That's what you
niggas.
take from this podcast? You're
Well,
single? Goddamn.
Well, I don't think that's the worst thing in the world.
I'm not saying it
Let me
is,
ask
but
you
I
this,
do.
Kat. I'm gonna ask you this. Do
Okay.
you feel like that you
It
and
feels
this is,
bleak.
this is not a bad thing because most
Okay.
people feel like this, but
Being single.
you want to just be who you are, how you
Mm-hmm.
are, and then find a man that can fit into the pocket of
I don't
how
need him to
you
fit
want
into
to be.
anything. Like I said, I just want to be myself. And like, so anyone that we could integrate into a life with each other. Because I don't need necessarily anyone to fit into my life. Also, because one of the things that the book brought up that makes me kind of realize why the way I've structured my life the way it is, I've noticed that I've turned my life into sort of a no man village, which is something that exists in a lot of places in like India and Africa, where patriarchy is kind of really gone
Frowned
off the
upon,
rails.
yeah.
And like they have to make these villages where they don't let men in just so that women can feel safe. And
Damn.
so
I know that's really sad.
yeah,
though.
there's
I hate
the
that.
one in Kenya, I think it's called Ujama, really sticks out. But there's a lot of them. I think in India, they came up with the pink sari society where they teach women self-defense so that they can, you know, fight off men and stuff like that. And
Hate that.
so things you have to do to feel safe. And I've noticed in my life, like, I don't let men know where I live. Like, I don't feel like it's a good idea to have adult men in my house because I have a young child, you know, like stuff like that. And so it's kind of like, well, damn, that's kind of bleak. You know what I mean? Like this idea that I feel incredibly unsafe around the idea of, you know, being that, like, putting my safety in the hands of another man. Like, that feels, like, super scary. So, like, so as time goes on, because it feels like it's not getting better, like, what is the real trajectory of this? Like, it's kind of funny on Lacey and Amber's podcast, and Lacey reads her DMs from her, like, her dating sites and stuff like that. I'm like, oh,
It's pretty bad.
Man, you gotta stop looking at that though. You gotta stop looking at it like that because that ain't no different than the white racists when they looking at the news and that's the only information that they getting about black people and why they fear black people.
But mine isn't coming
Because
just from
it's
like,
coming- it
the
sounds
news.
like
It's
a
coming
little-
from personal experience. Like I've had to.
But fear. You coming from people. You. From what I'm hearing you say, the information that you are getting is from the worst of the worst. It's from the bad
and my
cases.
personal experience.
Okay.
Which is the worst. Which is, I can attest to, the worst of the worst.
Yeah, and so.
So like it's been, and like I said, the women around me, like of course not, like you know Moni, like there's of course I have friends who have great husbands and it's great, and like I said, I grew up, like I think a lot of my naivete comes from the fact that I grew up around really great men.
No, I feel that. I promise you, the fact that you're saying that, it resonates with me in a way that I feel like I have to prepare my kids for. My life isn't your life. You know what I'm saying? Like you're observing me. I feel like me and Keith are a anomaly. Like I, you know, I can't even really explain why it's a thing. A lot of it is like.
I can definitely explain why.
Oh, let's
explain
hear
it,
That's what
please.
brought you on here.
Please do explain it.
I don't know your husband. Never
Yeah.
met him.
Yeah.
The fact that y'all are together 18 years.
Yeah.
Longer than that.
Not that
Legal.
married.
Married 18 years. I'm right. I'm sorry. You're right. You're right.
No,
They've been together
but
since the 1900s.
the 1900s.
Hey, okay, I
Yeah,
get it.
yeah.
And so there's a big part of you that your husband respects,
Okay.
and through the evolution of y'all time and your growth and your changes, mood swings, blase, all of that shit, he committed to adapting to that.
Yeah. For sure.
Even though
It's
there were
hard.
times where he,
He
was
was
just
like-
like, man, what the fuck, yo?
Period.
And he may have rebelled against it at times,
Sure,
but there
sure,
was
sure.
at some point in time his respect for you was way higher than
His discomfort for the
yes,
change.
exactly. But the same thing happened with you.
Yeah.
You looking at him and you're you're learning him, and still to this day, you're still learning him, but you respect him.
Respect him, yeah.
You
it's a big part of it.
Yeah,
it's a big part.
You respect him, and so because of that, you are committed to continue to grow with him. That's why y'all been together so long.
Yeah,
there's a level of respect between y'all to where the ego is not going to take over too much. Because I know throughout the years, there was times where you really wanted things to be your way. There's times where he really wanted things to be his way. And more or less, he probably leaned towards your way.
I don't know. I'm a pretty accommodating person as well, but I hear you, because I do feel like it takes a lot of mutual respect to be in relationships that last long, and that's not just romantically. I think that comes in the form of friendships and stuff too, because we evolve as people over time, and
he's
for
not
me,
the same person he was in '98.
I mean, yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I mean, he is, but he's not. And, part of why I love him is because he's always been that thing, but also because what he's saying is over time, like, we've gotten to see each other in different suits. And I get to see him as a dad, and it's like, oh my God, like, I can't even, that might be
he brings a value to your life that no other man.
Period.
I don't give
My
a fuck
kids are
if
so
a
in love with
nigga
him.
approached you just worth $50 billion.
I have turned down niggas. Listen,
I know, I get it.
I've been out with girlfriends. I've been on girls trips, and we've been around niggas who've had money, and to the point where it's like, he was a millionaire, and he was trying to asking me what my number was, and I'm like, 317 MARRID.
I'm married.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, and they're like, damn, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, because like I'm not, because to me, money isn't the end all be all.
That comes up in the book. There's no correlation between money and happiness.
It's not. And
like,
it's
as hard
needed
as to believe, because we feel like it's like, no, but if you give me money though, I'm gonna be happy.
I'm gonna be happy though.
No.
But that's good. You committed to that man.
Yeah,
and so he
period.
brings a value that no other man could ever bring to your life, because this is, and the same thing for him. There's no other woman that can recreate the connection and the value and everything that y'all have.
Right. For now.
No other woman. No, never. Even if something happened, I never thought that I'd be in this position where I'm divorced.
Yeah.
When I was married, I never thought that would happen.
That was even an option. Yeah.
Never thought that was even an option. So when it happened, it was and it's still like whatever I had with my ex still couldn't be recreated. Doesn't mean that I can't create something else.
Yeah,
and what I create is amazing, beautiful, valuable. And what I'm creating with this woman now won't be able to be recreated. You know what I mean? And so, man, you've seen that man through everything.
Yeah.
You y'all lasted this long because of that. Y'all have a connection, and there's a value to what y'all have that you're not gonna find nowhere else.
Oh, this was before we went to the break. The other Bell Hooks book is The Will to Change, which is her. I don't know which order she wrote them in, but I feel like it's the perfect complement to this book, because she kind of lays out the problem in this one and then the solution in that one, which is you have to be, and not just men but women too, because a lot of times women uphold these we don't put everything on men.
Thank you. That's the part.
Women hold this stuff up harder than men do sometimes. So we all have to like take a look at this, realize like whatever this is, it's not working. And we have to be, because I feel like there's a lack of creativity sometimes where there's just like, oh, well, if I have to, it has to be like this, this, and this. And it's like, well, wait a minute. It just like in the other significant others, we're talking about like, well, you want to create these meaningful connections in life. And we think it's only through romance, but sometimes it's through, platonic, you can have relationships. Yeah, like you can have that. So it's this idea of, we do at a certain point have to be willing to change, because we have been given a bit of a poison pill, especially here in America, where we're given this sort of glossy veneer of what like family life is supposed to be. It's supposed to be this perfect white, leave it to Beaver family. But in real life, that doesn't work. In real life, I think one of the biggest gifts in my life was being able to go to private schools with, sort of privileged white people, just to learn that that's nothing to strive for. Like, these were some of the most
That part.
yeah, like I was like, ooh, I don't want this. Like, I'm like, there's a lot of misery here, there's a lot of resentment here, there's a lot of fakeness here. Like, I want to live an authentic, fulfilling life that brings value to others.
I want that for men too, though, because I do feel like, you know, the lens of masculinity, like I said before, like I feel like it can be, or at least when I'm observing it, it feels very like it's a small box. Like, you don't get a lot of space to move around. And I want to like get into the emotional literacy and the relational intelligence that it takes to keep relationships in general, whether they're romantic or otherwise, whether they're, you know, mother, child, father, son, whatever. Yeah, it takes more than just showing up. Like, you have to be involved. You have to be, you know, like what you were saying too, like there takes diversity in the way that we think about relationships. Like, I don't think that mother-father relationships are because you can have the nuclear family and that be toxic too. Like, let's talk about that. Like, I think people tend to shun, you know, like when we talk about single moms or single parents in general, like, oh, well, they can't grow up because they don't have. It's like, no, like at the end of the day, it takes a village. It takes more than just the parents.
Just two
you know,
people.
like me having kids, you know, I've recognized that, like, it takes, you know, having those grandparents, having those aunts and uncles, having those friends, having other people involved and invested in these relationships to make them successful.
But that is something that I'm like, even when it comes to men and I hear them saying certain things about what a man is supposed to be and masculinity and this, that, and the other, I'm like, bro, it's no template. There's no you show up. And your energy just as a man is going to speak for itself. But you show up the right way without an attitude. That's just it.
Without trying to dominate. I feel like a lot of stuff has been...
But some things need to be dominated. No.
What's an example?
Some things need to be dominated. Fuck it. So there was something earlier today. Like, I seen my niece on some shit. And there was some niggas right there. And me walking up with my presence as a man dominated that situation. To immediately a door opened up, it's like, we cool, Unc. We cool, Unc. No, it's good. So there are certain situations where that male dominance needs to happen, because you're gonna run into people who feel like this is their entire territory and they can do whatever they want and treat people how they want, talk to them how they want, and all of that shit, until another man comes in
gonna do that.
Well,
and
I
be
think you're
like,
describing
hey,
protection. Protection's different than
but
dominance.
But that's still dominating that situation.
Well, dominance is like, well, at least in the context
what
of
you're talking
the
about,
book, was like about control.
Okay.
And so when we talk about, like, because when I think of dom, I think of sub and dom.
Yeah,
so there's someone who's a sub and someone who's a dom.
Okay.
And I don't necessarily like that in the context of a romantic partnership, because I feel like it should be a partnership. I don't think one person should be the dom and the sub, unless that's what you're into.
Right.
But
Unless that's what you're agreeing
that's
to.
what you're agreeing to, but even that takes a meeting of the minds. I think when Bell Hooks was talking about sort of patriarchal domination, it's this idea of men automatically know what's best. So you should sort of submit to that and then just let him dominate, and then just...
How has that worked out for you in your life?
Bad, real bad. So,
yeah, I mean, I agree. We don't always know what's best.
so that's one thing.
a
Like, there's nothing wrong
Yeah.
with the confidence and leadership that you often look to, and protection like that, because a lot of the times, like, that is what is sort of being sought
feels
out.
nice. Like, that's
It
the thing.
does,
feels
it does,
nice.
and
Yeah.
that's what you kind of want. But at the same time, I would never recommend, like, even though that's what I've been taught, I wouldn't recommend, like, laying down, like, because even though I feel like I come across as this really confident, sort of willful person, that's not how I've been in my relationships, where I should have been.
And that is weird that you're not.
It's weird.
Yeah, because
But it's hard to fight a lifetime of conditioning.
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
it takes a lot of therapy, reading, conversations to examine your own behavior,
To be
be
aware
like,
of it.
Yeah, to be like,
be
you know
aware.
what? Like, okay, this is my second time finding myself in an abusive, like, marriage. Like, so I'm participating in some way.
sure. And how?
So I'm like, so how am I participating? So for me, the safest thing for me to have done is just been like, I gotta stay out of relationships until I figure this out. And I don't.
Smart.
Yeah. Because the chances are, if I go into another one, this is gonna happen again.
Right.
Very
Because
likely.
we're repeating patterns and stuff like that. And it's like
life will keep teaching the same lesson until you learn
get it.
Yeah.
Amen to that. Yeah.
I mean,
But we should work.
overcorrection is a thing too.
So, okay.
So what do we do?
How do we wrap this up?
What do we do?
I don't know, man.
What do we do about what?
Patriarchy.
Well, we didn't fix the patriarchy. We didn't fix the
We're not going to fix it
patriarchy.
today. We're not going to fix it.
We didn't fix America.
It boils down to understanding, and I won't even just say understanding. It boils down to levels of empathy and willingness, right? So, as men and women, especially us Black men, I feel like
Take your time.
I'll say within the last year, I fully understood the meaning of speaking life into a man and what that really means. And when a woman speaks life into a man, it motivates him, it inspires him, and it makes him want to transcend beyond his current. A simple "you're great" don't really cut it. And I think a lot of women do not know how to speak life into their men. Men need to get a whatever the shit that we fight and that we battle, that we're always looking around the corner for the bullshit. You know, when we find out that we love a woman, it's not a joyous experience for us. And when we find out we love her, it's just like, fuck, I'm responsible for her now. And that can be a little scary, because now I'm responsible for the emotions and everything that come out of this, and I gotta show up the right way, and I don't know if I fully know how to do that. You know what I mean? And so when we fall in love with a woman, it's very scary. We need the women that are in our lives to understand those parts of us, to understand that we don't always know what we're doing.
Oh, I know that.
And well, I mean, of course you gonna know it, but we need you to understand that. And so when you come back to us on our shortcomings, before you said anything, we've already beat ourselves up about it. You know what I mean? Like,
can I quote something you said to you?
Shit. Okay.
No, it's not. I'm not. No, I'm agreeing with you. I'm agreeing with you.
It's like,
I'm totally agreeing with you. You once said on one of these we talked a lot on one of these podcasts. A woman wants to hear how you feel unless those feelings have to do with her.
Yes. Yes. I remember that.
And I remember that striking a chord in me, because it's like, yes, like no one really wants to hear about how you're negatively impacting someone.
Correct.
Yeah.
But you have to.
Yes.
Like you have to listen about how, like you said, if you're not speaking life into someone, let's say like the negative talk that maybe we've been taught as children, like the way we were taught. She brought up the fact that telling a kid they're bad, like below the age of 7 is child abuse. Yeah. Like you're not speaking life into them. So like if you try to tell a woman that, like your experience has been like, she don't want to hear that. So the idea that we all have to be willing to change, like you have to be willing to hear, like when you are engaging in the destructive, abusive practices that we need to let go.
As women, we do. Like that's
we all do it. Absolutely. So I'm glad I wanted to bring that up.
My new saying has been like, your emotions do not give you entitlement. Right?
That's true.
And
that's why you don't get to beat people up. It
would be so nice, though.
As good as it might feel.
It would be awesome.
Because people feel like, because they feel this way, they have the right to respond this way. They have the right to yell at you because they're angry. That gives them the right to yell at you. It gives them the right to do these things because they're angry. And I've learned that, especially like when dealing with a woman, as a man, the moment you raise your voice, you are already the bad guy. You're the bad guy, and she is going to get on the defensive. Whatever you try to get out of this situation by raising your voice and yelling at her is, one, not going to happen, or two, be temporary. Because she had a reason for why she responded or felt or whatever the way she did. Now, you as a man needs to have enough self-worth to know what type of woman that you're dealing with and be like, I'm out. I'm not going to deal with this, because you can't save everybody. You know what I mean? No, I don't give a fuck how much you love her. I don't give a fuck what connection y'all done had and how long y'all been together and all of that shit. Bruh, if she do not want to change, if she does not
that's
see,
a message.
She does not have the will to change.
She does not have any willingness.
Which you have to do in a relationship.
Change.
That's the
That's
thing. Like,
part.
I think that's why I struggle with relationships. I kind of like myself. I don't want to change a lot about what I'm doing. So it's probably not a good idea for me to get in a relationship right now. Like, maybe I should
If
wait.
only your behavior is detrimental to relationships, that's the only reason that you need to change. Most things about
I'm still
people,
super defensive and guarded. Like, I'm still dealing with PTSD. Like, there's a lot of stuff where it's like, yeah, probably not a good idea.
there's a man who's
I don't think I could
there's a
trust-
man who could come into your life and understand that and see that and be like, I need to be more patient with this woman than I have with anybody else, because what Kat needs at this moment is consistency, right? Kat needs
It's
consistency.
possible.
And
It's possible.
Yes, and it's possible. And there's a man out there.
There's billions of
that-
people. He's probably in Korea.
Man, no, that nigga.
He might be.
That nigga is in Broad Ripple right now.
He eats some flats right now. He eats some flats.
That nigga's in Broad Ripple right now. Be like, hey, all flats, bro.
I wish he would all flats. You know what I'm saying?
That was fantastic. Wow.
Yeah,
But-
look.
King K, let me speak a little life into you real quick. I love you so much. We love
this
you
is awesome.
so much.
This is
Thank you
awesome.
so
Thank
much
you.
for sharing your time and your wisdom with
Absolutely.
us. You're a fantastic example of a black man. That's why we wanted you on the show. And will you come back on again? Because I feel like we have so much to talk about.
We do. I'm just not even gonna be here next time. I'm gonna just let y'all get into it.
No,
Kat-
we need
but-
all that energy.
No, but what I'm saying is like I understand the value of like men are so fucking fantastic, and I mean I feel so lucky and grateful that I'm surrounded by so many wonderful men that it's like, you know, and I know that a lot of women don't get that experience, especially black women, in terms of like platonic relationships and stuff like that. So I hope that our podcast does have the opportunity for you to meet people who, you know what I'm saying, he got a girl, he ain't trying to fuck you, you know what I'm saying? Like we can lean to your, you know, expertise in being a man and like taking those lessons and because I think the collaboration is the important part, and I think it doesn't need to be adversarial. We are different. We process the world different, but just like men are different, like, you know, I don't want you to feel like you're speaking for every man here, because every man has their own experience, just like every woman. Me and Kat are two totally different ladies, and we have our own experiences. So I want to honor that, but I also want to say, like, I do want to recognize how important, you know, relationships are when they're not like I think it's just, to me, it's just so limiting when we only think about men and women in terms of romantic relationships and how it's just so limiting, because you miss out on all of the nuance of who men are and who women are when you don't get to enjoy them outside of the context of like somebody trying to hunch on. So
Just like they're
this is
people.
awesome. They're just like people.
They're people.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm super I don't feel like we really got into the book that much, but we did talk about a lot of the
Do you think you'll read it?
the big points and stuff.
No, I definitely will.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
No, I
it's a
definitely
really
will.
good book.
I would like to see you.
We'll have to do a part
that
2
perspective.
because this was deep. This
It's a
gets,
lot. It's
I
a lot
feel
to
like
get
this is
into.
the fulcrum of every like problem I have.
She was very invested in this. But also, too, though, I think you're not alone in that. I don't think so that either. People in general are looking for connection. We are looking for partnership. And I think that Black women in particular want to feel this closeness to Black men and it feels elusive because of the culture that we are in. And so, like, I just, anytime we can encourage men to, like, really fully be in a space where they're willing to consider.
And to be safe. Because they have to feel safe too. Like we all deserve to feel safe.
We do, and I want to acknowledge that. Like a lot of times, that's not the scenario that a lot of Black men are introduced into. Like they're not able to just show up and like be themselves and say and do what they feel in the moment and stuff like that. So I do think, these conversations are important, and I hope you guys enjoyed this conversation today. I had so much fun. King K, I don't know what it is you have going on currently. I don't know if you want to plug yourself or if you want to let people know where they can find you in case they're interested in anything you have going on. But
first thing I'll say is I am full of gratitude that this conversation I was thought of to come on to the podcast and have this conversation. Secondly, I hope that I did a well enough job to the listeners to be able to at least perceive things a little bit differently than they may have beforehand. As far as what I got going on,
you said you just produced a song.
He out here making music, y'all.
Yes,
he out here making music.
I did that. That was yesterday. So that's been the major part of just music production. I was just in the Trees. I was in Trees Festival in the Beat Battle.
What's up? Are you going to? Oh, shout out to Mike Ebbs doing the concert at Douglas Park today. I know a lot of people gonna be there and everything. That'll be fantastic.
So if you are a listener, and I produce music, I write, I do all of that stuff. So even if you're a beginner, like hit me up. You can find me on Instagram.
Ooh, tell him.
That camera right there?
Yeah, right there.
Y'all can find me on Instagram at I am King KO. That is IAMKINGKAO. You can find me on TikTok. Same thing. My music, I post stuff on there and all of that too. So I'm actually thinking about doing more like what's the word? Like self-help type videos, like when I have certain little theories and shit like that, just doing little videos on just
because these niggas need help.
Kat is feeling very personal. Listen, I think, but I mean, at the end of the day, we just all want to be seen, right? Like we just all want to be seen. We all want to feel valued. And if I had any advice for like just long-term relationships, whether they're romantic or not, is there's a certain amount of just being able to, I don't know, acceptance in a way. Like, letting people show up how they are and not necessarily feeling like you have to fix something or...
Yeah, give them some room.
Give them some room to... Just give people like room. People would just want to be heard. We're all here trying to figure it out. We all need to connect, and I do think that conversations around men and women need to be more inclusive and more...
and have them more.
Yeah,
it's such a big part of life. I don't know why this isn't the first class we take in school.
I would say, men, learn how to talk to women.
And remember, they're people.
Maybe.
Okay. Yes. I'll leave y'all with this as men. And this is something that I've always said. If I'm a man in a room full of women, they're gonna know that a man is present. Be that. Just like even with y'all, like y'all my dogs, but I understand y'all are women. I'm gonna walk y'all to your car.
I really like that about you.
Like, I'm going to make sure that, like, while y'all in my presence, she's married. I get that. Mm-hmm. Her husband ain't here right now, and I understand that. But he want to make sure she get home safe. He can appreciate the fact that she's good and she's cool and all of that shit. You dig what I'm saying? And so, my female cousins, I open up the doors for them. Hey, man, don't, like, if I am a man in your presence, you are going to know that there is a man in your presence. So, men understand that if you are a man around a group of women,
show them what they should expect.
Yes.
Model that.
Understand that. And this other thing is that you are a leader. You have no choice in the matter. You are a leader. Now, where you have the choice at is either you're going to be a good one or a bad one.
Oof. Let's stop
That's-
right there.
That's beautiful.
That was
gems.
perfect.
The gems were dropped.
That's what it comes down to.
Because you are
It's
that.
up to you.
And you are being looked at as that. I don't give a fuck what she's saying. I don't give a fuck how much money she got. I don't give a fuck how strong she presents. I promise you, bro, she's looking at you to be the leader. You have the decision of being a good one or a bad one.
Amen. All right, guys. Well, you heard it here first, guys. Thank you so much, King K, for being here. We super appreciate your input on this. I feel like this is a really important topic, and also I would love to revisit this at some point too.
I feel like there should be a part 2 after he reads the book.
Absolutely.
Come with it.
After he reads, yeah. Sure, you know what I'm saying? Because we didn't really even get.
We
into
sprung
the
it
book
on him in like less than a week.
did.
I don't
We
want to make it
appreciate
feel
you.
like he didn't. He
Nah,
showed up.
He did
before
he
I
did.
did.
He did. Thank you so much, King K, for being here.
Thank y'all for having me.
It was super fun, you guys. We're a little drunk at this point.
I know we don't want to wrap it up because it's been
Oh, we
great,
just
but
keep
we
talking.
have
We
to
have to
because this
go.
file is going to kill Kat.
Good day. I know. I'm not editing this, you guys. We're not even going to spin the wheel. It might be a fake ass episode, but understand that anytime you tune in, it's going to be a good time. So we'll see you guys next Wednesday. And your body belongs to you.
Oh yes, your body belongs to you.
Is this or nothing?
It's this or nothing.
Okay. So you have to make the good in your life. Yeah. We're out of here, guys. Peace.
Before we go, we must give thanks to Urban Nerd for providing our music, and legal services were handled by Trezanae M. Atkins. If you like what you heard, please feel free to join us every Wednesday for another fake-ass book club. Cheers.
Thank you guys for listening. You can check us out at thefabpodcast.com. Please subscribe, rate, and review our podcast wherever you're listening right now. We want to hear from you. Come put it in our life. Thanks again. And until next time, peace, love, and the Fake Ass Book Club. We out.